So we have a very interesting panel that is meant to shine light on some of the challenges that are being faced by operators that are active in Spain's regulated iGaming environment. Our panelists here this afternoon are José Antonio Giacomelli, who's General Manager at MGA Games, Mikel López de Torre, who we all know as Digital Director at Sportium, Felipe Masa, Director at Ernst & Young in Sevilla, and last but not least, Jordi Sendra, who is COO at Alea. And moderating today is, that was maybe not in the program that you saw, Alba Castro Torruella, who is Associate Director at Kreab, España. If you can make it to the stage, that would be fantastic.
Well, thank you, Willem, and Gaming in Spain for organizing such an interesting event so far, and thank you everyone for staying here. We're perfect in time, and but as Santi said before, this is after lunch, so we'll try to do this roundtable as fresh as possible. I'd like to introduce the speakers participating in this panel, who Willem already mentioned. So maybe you would like to introduce yourselves a little bit in case someone in the audience doesn't know you yet. So Felipe, if you want to start.
Thank you very much. Willem, thank you very much for the invitation once again in this interesting event. Well, my name is Felipe Masa. I am a tax lawyer from EY, and well, we are helping a lot of operators in Ceuta and based in Ceuta, and this is the reason why well, I am here together with all of you.
Yep, thank you. Jordi.
So I'm Jordi Sendra. I'm the CEO of Alea. We are a game aggregator and trying to add some value in the panel.
My name is Mikel López de Torre. I am the digital director of Sportium and also a proud resident of Ceuta, so hopefully I can shed a bit of light in that.
Okay, I am José Giacomelli. I'm leading the business development in MGA Group and the online division. We have both B2B and B2C business, so we'll see.
Thank you. Well, so as you know, this panel is going to be focused on operations, and we're going to cover some topics like operating in Ceuta, customer preferences, and the demands in terms of product, and also player protection. And at the end, of course, you'll be open to questions. So maybe, to give a little bit of a context, Felipe, as an expert in Ceuta and Melilla, the ecosystems, can you give us a little bit of, information about what's the industry looking like there, and also Mikel as an operator who's working from there?
Well, yes, Ceuta and Melilla already have a very good tax regime. In fact, they have a 10% rate in relation to gaming tax. They also have a reduced tax rate in corporate income tax, and this is the reason why all the operators are looking for this location.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit how many operators are based in both cities?
In Ceuta we already have 35,
wow.
And in Melilla more or less 5 or 6.
That's more or less half.
More or less 40 out of 65 with license to operate in Spain.
Good.
Okay.
And Mikel, how is it to operate from Ceuta in your case?
So I think to build on what Felipe said, it's not just the gambling tax. There's a 50% reduction on gambling tax in Ceuta, which takes it from 20% on GGR to 10% on GGR. That's 10% of your GGR that goes straight to your bottom line. That's a clear advantage for anyone operating in Spain with a sizable operation. But there are also other advantages, such as, for example, the fact that there's no VAT. There's a local version of VAT, which is called the IPSI, which is significantly reduced. I think it's between, and please, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's between 0.5 and 4%, depending on the type of service that you're contracting. And these, for the operators that are based in jurisdictions such as Malta, Gibraltar, will be less interesting or less appealing. But if you're actually operating from the peninsula, if you're from mainland Spain, it's actually a massive advantage as well. This is, as you all know, a marketing-heavy industry. And all marketing, for example, and this is validated by the tax agency in Spain, gets exemption from VAT. And additionally, for those of us like myself who are relocated to the city, you get a 60% reduction on personal income tax, which again, for the lower range salaries might not be as appealing, but for many professionals in the industry, it is obviously a big difference. So that, in my view, that's more or less a roundup of the tax arrangement that make it appealing.
Good. Thank you. So I would also like to ask you, when does and doesn't make sense for an operator to work from Ceuta or Melilla in this case?
Well, in case you already have license to operate in Spain, it makes sense because you are going to reduce a lot of the cost and the tax. You're going to save an important amount in your P&L accounts in relation to the tax savings that you already have in Ceuta or Melilla, comparing to mainland or whatever any other jurisdiction in the European Union. And this is the reason why. Well, it is very interesting, but not only for the taxes. I think Ceuta have a great atmosphere, a great business atmosphere. Mikel is already living in Ceuta, so you can provide more information about this. But what is true is that well, the operators have seen Ceuta as a business-friendly place in order to develop the Spanish market. And what is true is that, well, the success of the city in relation to the movement of different operators from mainland, from Gibraltar, from Malta, it is a reality nowadays.
So I think we can say that Ceuta and Melilla are positioning themselves as technological hubs in Southern Europe. Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
And I would like to ask something specifically to Jordi. As a company that you are entering the Spanish market, why, how does it look like, and why Spain, and in your case, why Barcelona?
Well, for us, Spain is, I would say, our logical next step. Alea before was an operator, then the company split, and we built the B2B the last 2 years. So now we're entering regulated market, and Spain, because we're based here, we know we're locals, and it's easy for us to make business. Before entering the market, we analyzed if we could develop a tech hub in Ceuta to use the reduced tax, but we found that it was difficult for us to get talent. We put in the table Serbia, building a hub in Serbia, in Ceuta, and in the end what we did was choose Barcelona. We think that pushing the office has more benefits. We have a hybrid mode, and in the end this was what made us discard Ceuta and stay in Barcelona.
Cool, thank you. I don't know if José Antonio or Mikel, if you want to add something on the talent attraction.
But basically, for us, we set up a game development studio at the beginning of the year in Ceuta, basically, and we are operating in Ceuta as a Golden Park from 2 years ago. Despite the fact that all the things about taxes and blah 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 are very explained by Mikel. Also for us, it's a very good benefit, the reduction of the taxes. Also for us, it's important the help that the government is giving to all the operators that are coming to Ceuta in terms of training, in terms of rent, in terms of help in any way that you can imagine. So the government is really near from the operator in this case. Also the ecosystem that we have there, it's very important. As a B2B also, we have there almost all the operators in Spain. And it's true that as a challenge, we need some kind of improvement in the side of human resources, because it's very difficult right now in the technical side, developers and blah blah blah. It's very difficult for us to got talent there, We have the remote working and blah, blah, blah. And it's really difficult for us to... So things to improve.
Okay.
So I think, if I may, I'm going to pick up on something that both Felipe and Jaco touched on, which is the fact that the local authorities are actually very approachable, very flexible and very proactive, trying to help the companies that establish themselves over there. I think, whereas it'll be not a surprise to anyone that sourcing specialist talent can be complicated. It's also true, and some of you, if like me, live the landing of all the gambling companies in Malta, will find very relatable. Is that taking that example, 10 years ago there was absolutely no specialized talent in Malta. Yet over the years it developed, and the first step was actually establishing companies over there. Now I was at a conference the other day, and I think I met 3 Maltese professionals, 3 on the director levels in different international companies. That would have been unthinkable 10 years ago, where they basically got administration or customer service roles in gambling companies in Malta. That has to start somewhere, and there's a plethora of young people in Ceuta who are actually very willing to find a new career path. And one thing that the local authority has done in this sense is they've teamed up with consultants locally to create training for some of the entry-level positions in the gambling industry, which I think has been where most of the companies established now have sourced their talent. And additionally, something that is probably less known is the fact that there's a campus of the University of Granada in Ceuta, and 2 of the degrees they offer there are business administration and computer engineering. So whereas obviously you don't have a pool of dozens of developers or I don't know, marketing, digital marketing specialists to choose from right now, you do have a pool of talent that's actually trained in the right topics. You have a continuum of people coming out of our university and looking for jobs that they weren't finding in Ceuta, but they now can find in Ceuta. And we've found both professionals that we've repatriated, so that we've brought back to Ceuta because now they have the chance to actually work locally. And we've actually also signed an agreement with the University of Granada in the campus in Ceuta to offer work experience to young people coming out of a university there. We as a company, we've been there for 4 years, 4 years for myself as well. And from those deals, we've actually hired 3 developers and 7 payments and AML executives that are developing within the company. And we believe that as operators, we cannot expect to land and find everything done for us. We have to be part of a local ecosystem, part of the local economy. We need to nourish that talent, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. Seniority is not something you're born with. Seniority is something you grow into. And yeah, the way we see it is a great opportunity for everyone to benefit and create synergies with the local economy. Interesting,
thank you. So we're moving now to the second block of the roundtable. We're going to focus now on product, customer demands and preferences. And we'd like to talk about specifically what kind of games or products the customers want based on observations and traffic data. Maybe Jordi and Giaco and Mikel can give a little bit of more information.
Okay, I will start. Okay, but basically, we are developers in Spain. We started 10 years ago. We have the idea to put some kind of classic and slot casino games for Spain, very localized product. It was a success until now. And there are 2 things that sometimes we forget that is or that are very important in the game development. One thing is we need to develop good games. This is the first thing. Good games, it means good graphics, good deep of games, good maths, good innovations. We have to develop good games, and we have to develop games without technical errors. Basically, there are the 2 main points that we need to remember. Because it's true that right now in the market, there is some kind of incredible movement of games. And even in our operation, we are releasing 4 or 5 games every day. Sometimes skins, sometimes... in fact, we have only a few days to stay in the top of the site, of the casino site, 1 week, 2 weeks, and then your game disappear. And we are talking about a lot of games that have a change of skins and blah blah blah. I understand the final user is seeing this kind of changes in the market, and also the operators have this kind of games every day. But this is important because at the end, the developers or the content developers are in the end of the chain, no? And it's very difficult to keep your games always in the top. At the end, we have to release games, we have to produce games every 2 weeks, and it's very difficult to invest in innovation, invest in new features, invest in these kind of things. So this is some kind of question to keep in mind.
Yeah. Mikel, if you want to, or Jordi.
From our side, we're not yet in Spain, but what I can share, we're in several markets, and the trend, I would say, is live shows. That's something that here in Spain we only have roulette, but there are slots that they get converted into live shows. So this is something that probably in Spain also it should be the next step. And what we see is that this, as Giacomo was saying, there's a huge trend in volume and not quality. And it's very difficult to fight against that. We are in the middle as an aggregator, so we are not we're not able to do anything on that side. But some thoughts to keep in mind would be that as you have more and more volume, this can complicate operations for the operators in terms of maintenance, both of APIs and both of games. There are always issues, as you said. There's no thumbnails, limits are not set. So this obviously puts a lot of stress in operations. And then the other thought is, we see in different markets that you have always the main slot providers. In our case, we only do casino, we don't do sports, but the main providers, they always work well in most of the markets. And then you have 2, 3 game providers that they achieve to have something that it's very local and it works. But it's difficult to find them. So for an operator, I would say is the focus would be in really discovering those hidden gems and trying to test that on the sites and see what we then discuss about different ages and different profiles of players. But this also is something that as new people is entering the market, new players, more young, they have different tastes, they have different ways of playing. I don't know, the music of a game can be something that is very different from another game, and people just do autoplay and they are watching a soccer match and they just play with the sound. There's a lot of things that in terms of content need to be considered, and therefore there's opportunity but also challenge.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Mikel?
To be honest, I think they pretty much covered most, because the truth of the matter is, the only thing I would add is taking it one step back is the fact that, because going back to the original question, which was what do customers actually want or look for, if we see the trends both global and in the regulators' reports, essentially what's growing fastest is live casino and slots. So they've overtaken sports betting, and clearly that's a global trend. It's not something that's locally specific to Spain. I don't want to, as you might have noticed, I like to listen to myself, but you know, I wouldn't want to take too much time, but I think that's an important topic, going back to some of the panels that we've seen today, which is that innovation in terms of product in Spain is limited. We are limited to the licensing system that the DGOJ implemented. So that's why we're seeing so many slot titles and rotation in that content, because we don't actually get the true innovation in, which is churning the same titles, and we need to keep them as fresh as we can, and that's basically by burning titles.
Thank you. And there's also some other business that is limited here in Spain. It's marketing, as you all know. So I would like to ask you, to what extent will product itself become more and more important if marketing is limited every time? I mean, you know, in Spain, it's almost banned to advertise online gambling, so...
Well, one of the things that our clients, they ask us is games that have internal features. Bonus buy-in, tournaments also for regulated markets work pretty well. Then you have, I would say, maybe on the third place jackpots, whereas in non-regulated markets it's the other way around, by the way.
Yeah, and basically all of this, the lack of advertisement at the end for the operator, the transformation is tournaments, achievements, free spins, bonus, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's building, in the end, is making a longer experience in the game. And in the end, what my view is that you end up having the player spending more, which it's good. But if you don't get new players, you might find, and maybe this is out of the panel, but you might end up pushing too much the players that you have, which is bad from the gambling, responsible gambling point of view.
I don't know much I can add. I mean, there are opportunities to market products, but I think it's you sort of hit the nail on the head in the sense that since there isn't all that much real product innovation, there had to be innovation around marketing and promotions, and building on what Mauro said, things like leaderboards. All kinds of challenges where the innovation has actually happened in the space, at least in Spain, and that has been incorporated to some of the games, like you said, as features. Not much that I can add in.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to the third point here, we're going to talk about player protection, also including the game design and the implementation of responsible gambling measures. As you know, it's one of the big topics today and also in the industry across Europe. So specifically, what is the impact of the new regulations on product, like spin time, maximum bets, the language, etc.? How is it affecting?
Okay, as developers, we are under the umbrella of the operator. So we are giving all the regulation that is implemented in the platform right now. So limits, deposits, time, self-exclusion, etc., is bring to us through the operator. So what are we doing in our games? Basically, we are trying to meet the regulation in every country that we are going. So in Spain we have the 3 seconds. We don't have limit of maximum price. We don't have limit of minimum or maximum bet. We need to show some kind of things inside the game. So we are meeting these kind of things in the regulation in Spain, basically, and then the operator has all the information and all the force to keep all the regulation in this level.
Is it hard? Like in Spain, it's getting every time more and more regulated. So how are you experiencing this from your standpoint?
Under the point of view of the operator, we are basically changing the platform every new degree. So this is the thing that we are doing right now. So any new regulation, we are changing the platform. In the last one, the environments or more secure environments, really we are really prepared to do it, but we'll see in the future what happens here.
Yes. Mikel, would you like, as an operator?
I promise not to make any bad comments around regulation, so I think I'm going to keep it to myself for now.
That's okay. I mean, I'm sure, and we always say that I'm also a communications manager for J Digital, and this is something that we always say that, the industry is really compliant, is really committed to, doing everything right. I can say, because we also see it in the association, that, I mean, would you like to have more direct contact with the regulator? Would you like for them to listen more to your expertise? I mean, you are the real expert in the industry.
We're speaking one up. I think there's been a change of attitude in the regulator.
No, I just wanted to, mention that.
No, I think there's been a change in the attitude of the regulator.
Let me say something about it, okay? Only one thing, a very little thing. We are, as you know, we develop games in Spain with celebrities, Spanish celebrities.
Yep.
These Spanish celebrities are regulated, certified by the DGOJ. But any operator in Spain can make any kind of advertisement with these games. So it's like a nonsense situation, and it's difficult to understand because there is nobody saying, "Hey, play." No. We have a game with some kind of character inside. So I don't know if I can answer the question.
That's okay. Jordi, I don't know if you want to add something related to player protection from your standpoint.
As an aggregator, we more or less the same case as MGA. We pass what the changes on the games. We need to make sure, from the tech perspective, that we pass the certification and everything, all the changes, but mostly is on the operator side. The only thing, it's not the case for Spain, but for other markets, there are the API, the integration changes. Like the reality check, this implies a change in the API. The bed limit, the time of the spin, this is something that is managed from the game provider, but they are not in the case of Spain, but other requirements, other markets that we need to change the API. So this is something that we cover and we make sure. It's another layer of, let's say, security in terms of compliance for operators, but nothing more than that. We don't do anything else. And
Felipe, from your same point, like you're expert in legal operations, do you feel like there's nervousism around the industry? Are operators making more questions to you in terms of, this kind of regulations?
Well, I am a tax lawyer. And, here, the key point from a tax point of view is, we see that a lot of operators move to Ceuta and Melilla, and what is true is that we expect in the near future we will expect some tax audits in relation to the movement of the industry to both cities. And what is true is that what we highly recommend is to have the proper substance in the city, to have the effective management of the company in Ceuta or in Melilla, and you have to take into consideration that most of the companies or the operators are international companies, and what is true is that what we highly recommend and what we are working with the operators is to have a proper transfer pricing policy within the group. So we don't have any problem both in Ceuta or in any other jurisdiction, and of course this transfer pricing policy will not make any issue in relation to the gaming tax incentive here in Spain for both cities. So this is the main issue in relation to regulation, in this case to tax regulation.
Thank you. So now that we've moved back to the Ceuta topic, I would like to ask you, what are the main challenges that you have observed from a practical and operational point of view to establish in Ceuta? You already covered that a little bit, Mikel, but maybe if we can, expand a little bit more on that.
I think there's probably the first issue that you need to overcome is the negative perception that people have sometimes of Ceuta just out of not knowing Ceuta. I didn't know what to expect when I moved there, and I will not even say some of the things that I heard. Like I remember one of the members of the marketing team asking me, well, "Are there supermarkets in Ceuta?" Well, of course there are supermarkets. I mean, where do you think you're going? But people have all these misconceptions as to what you find when you get there. And the truth of the matter is, it's a small coastal town in Andalusia. It's very, very quiet, very quaint. Lots of modernist buildings in the center, in the city center. It's good quality of life. I don't know. It's a very, very nice place to live. It obviously doesn't have the shine that Madrid or Barcelona might have, but it's a pleasant place to live. Now we're all talking about working remotely, getting out of the big cities, and it's a good place to do that. It's definitely a good location to do that. Once you overcome that initial resistance or fear of moving to a place that you know nothing about, and you actually get to visit the place, you realize that the main issue is going to be the high price of rental places. But other than that, because there simply isn't all that much parque inmobiliario, I don't know how to say that in English, sorry guys. There aren't that many flats to rent out in the markets. It's a really good place to live, and it's a really good place to operate from. Again, you need to build it from the bottom. None of this existed in Malta 10 years ago, probably didn't exist in Gibraltar 20 years ago. It doesn't exist anywhere where you're actually trying to build something from scratch. But what comes with actually relocating to Ceuta and operating from Ceuta is the accomplishment feeling of actually building something from the ground.
Yeah. Giacomo?
As I mentioned at the beginning, for us it was easy to move to Ceuta. We started there our offices. We have there 10 people working right now. The government, again, it was very helpful to talk with the government, with Enrique Reyes and Quisi, a lot of people in the government helping in all the things that we have to set up in the Ceuta. So they are really prepared to get all the companies that are moving there. As Mikel mentioned, the initial perception is like a negative one, but it's true that when you are there for the first time, it's an amazing city, a lovely place. So yeah, everybody can go there.
I wonder what's the average age actually of the people that are working there in your companies? More or less.
32?
Mine are younger.
Really?
Mine are younger.
27?
Yeah, no, it's between 20 and 30. Yeah, it's quite young. Yeah. Which actually makes up for a really good, vibrant feeling.
Yeah. So, and you already talked about this. So, how do you see Ceuta and Melilla in the future, in the near future?
Well, we are working, supporting the government of Ceuta, for example, for instance, in relation to new measures to be implemented in the future in order to create a even more better atmosphere in relation to the digital and technological companies. In fact, what the government sees is that the COVID is a good opportunity because what is true is that the pandemic demonstrate that you can work from whatever place, and if you are a service provider, at the end of the day you can, with a computer, you can be in any place in the world. So it is a good opportunity to implement some measures that the people can see that it is a good place to live, it's a good place to work, and of course what they want is to attract more talent to the city in order to create more jobs and more professional and business projects within the city.
Okay. this is a tricky question. So, what do you think will happen if the benefits in terms of tax and everything are removed from Ceuta and Melilla? What do you think is going to be next, the next destination? Or maybe, Ceuta and Melilla are going to stay? I don't know if you have a guess.
Felipe is probably more qualified to answer this one, but I am 100% convinced that they won't be removed.
It will not happen.
It won't happen.
It will not happen.
No, because this is not something that was specifically done for the gambling industry.
No,
this is something that was happening, and the gambling industry was excluded until it was included. So I don't think it's going to happen.
At the end of the day, the tax regime is in force before we enter within the European Union in the 80s. No? So at the end of the day, this is something that we already have for any industry that may relocate the business into the city. What is true is that the tax incentive for gaming tax was introduced in 2018, and it is true that in these years we have the Brexit for Gibraltar, and the operators that already have the license to operate in Spain and are already located in Gibraltar, we thought about where is the best place to go, no? And taking into consideration this tax modification, this new measure for gaming tax, well, they decided to go to Ceuta. But what is true is that the tax regime in Ceuta is in force like 100 years ago. It is started more or less in the 40s of the last century. So at the end of the day, this is something that is already approved by the European communities. At the end of the day, Ceuta is within the legal framework of Spain. It is included, and therefore within the European Union, it is included within the scope of the all the double tax treaties signed by Spain. So at the end of the day, what is true is that it's a safe place to make business.
Okay, thank you. So that's it from our side. I don't know if anyone has any question that you would like to raise.
I think it's a good idea. So we have 5 high-level experts on the stage. Any questions? So there was a few people who sent me some questions who did not want to ask me to ask them. But happy to first share with you. Anybody in the room a question here? So look, if you can please state your name and company.
Hello, I'm Lucas Lebleu. Just in general, like probably mostly to Giacomelli and Mikel, what made you take the decision between like Ceuta or Melilla and you choose Ceuta? And a lot of other operators have chosen Ceuta, although there's no airport, and for example, Melilla has an airport. That's one of the perks, let's say, from Melilla. Is it because they do, or they started to actually advertise, let's say, the city way before Melilla did it, or what was the decision making there?
In our case, we are the last company to go there. So we went to the place that hold the big number of operators in that case, and it was easy to set up the company there. So it seems for us also we travel a lot of times to Gibraltar, and it was like it's the same thing. So it's not a business decision. It's like some kind of decision about the easy for us to get there.
Yeah, I think the fact that Melilla has an airport might be misleading in the sense that yes, it has an airport, but it doesn't have the frequency of flights that comes with it. So actually, Ceuta is a lot better connected. With Melilla, you take about 6 hours. It might sound like I'm actually berating Melilla, but it's not the case. This was my decision making. Okay, so you have a ferry, but it takes about 6 hours to get there. So it's not really an option. You have to get one of the flights, and they're not that frequent. Whereas from Ceuta, you have I think it's 9 daily connections to Malaga, and I don't know how many to Algeciras. Within 6-7 minutes, you're in Algeciras. within 22 minutes, you were in Malaga. Malaga is, I think, the third biggest airport in Spain today. So you literally are in 20 minutes in one of the biggest airports in Spain. You don't even get there if you live in Madrid.
From Barcelona, it's one hour and a half to go to reach Malaga, and then the helicopter to Ceuta is 25 minutes. Very, very easy.
Thank you. More questions from the room. Front to back. If not, I have a question here. So, Jordi, you spoke about live RNG before, but maybe a bit more general. Is there anything that could be the next big thing in the Spanish market from a product perspective? Or José?
Better, Jordi.
I don't have any crystal ball, obviously. I would say it's very volatile. Crash games is something that it's really making a big increase in numbers.
Yeah.
Mini games, and don't make me describe exactly what are they, because I have several examples that are very fun. But those are games in the end that require fast interaction with the player. In the end, the player is looking for experience, for interaction, and being able to do more things in the game and not just spinning. Therefore, features, tournaments, engagement of the player. And I would say playing or betting with other players. That's something we are seeing from the tech perspective. There are already some companies that they're doing that, like Beyond Play, for example, and it's playing with other players on the same game, and everyone bets on the same spin, and therefore you create a community, and this is a huge tool for operators. So I would say live games, there's a lot of innovation there, but right now we are capped in Spain, as Mikel said. Let's see if Blackjack comes at some point, but there's a lot of live shows, and then player to player.
Okay, thank you. José?
I'm very bad to predict the future, but in the last 25 years, the innovation in the game of the roulette, for example, it's very low, no? So I think at the end we will see some kind of futures in the games to interact in some kind of social gambling or something like that. I think it's more possible to do this than to innovate in games. In fact, there are new games that are really interesting, like Aviator or whatever. But I think we have to, or the market is moving to some kind of features, social features, achievements, tournament, etc.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions here? Last question then here for mainly looking at José, Mikel, and to a certain extent Felipe. Earlier today we heard from regulatory experts who were not entirely enthusiastic about the trajectory of Spain's regulated iGaming market. How do you look, however, at the market's prospects from an operational perspective?
Okay. So to be honest, I have a much more optimistic view. So at the moment, I think after a very strange period, we're seeing very strong growth. And I think it's going to be very tough for smaller operators and for operators that enter the market in the last 3 to 5 years. Obviously, the regulation on advertising has crippled them severely, and anyone who had a business plan for the long term to introduce a new brand in the market is going to suffer. Yeah. But for established operators with recognizable brands, happy days.
José?
Okay, I think the same that Mikel. Basically, I think we have a strong regulation right now. We have a lot of challenges in front of us to solve as an operator point of view. But also we have a 10-year market, and I'm sure that we can improve our our operations here in Spain. So, good future.
Great,
for me.
Felipe. Maybe anything to add from an advisory perspective on the operational part?
I think that we have to make an effort in order to help the industry. I think we are talking about a lot of jobs created in Spain. And at the end of the day, what is true is that it is a regulated activity, but we have to understand the players, and we have to make an effort from a political perspective in order to have a good atmosphere, in order to make business, of course, with all the precautions in relation to young people and so on. But I think they have, or we have to hear the players in order to develop a good business atmosphere here in Spain.
Great. Felipe, thank you very much. Alba, thank you for moderating. Felipe, Jordi, Mikel, José, thank you for participating in this panel.